I mentioned how important it is to use a reliable installer. As we'll see from this news story, not only is it important that you have a reliable installer, it's really important that you know what kind of panels you're getting and the company that's producing it. This story involves Sunpower, one of the largest residential solar providers which declared bankruptcy.
One of the most established companies in the country. But then last year, that company suddenly filed for bankruptcy just as that family's system broke down. They turned to investigator Masa Saidi for help, and tonight she's getting them some results.
I'm from a culture that we believe tomorrow the sun will always come out. And collecting energy from that is priceless.
The price to harness the power of the sun, nearly $55,000. 3 years ago, the Traore family signed a contract with Sunpower. And
Okay, so this is different from the companies that will try to sell you free solar and they will keep the tax credits. So if you can see from this, it's $54,000, which is a lot of money, but because he paid for it, not the installer, he gets to keep the tax credit. So it says estimated rebate, if applicable, retained by customer. So in addition to the federal tax credits, many states like New York and DC, and I'm assuming New Jersey as well, have these credits for renewable energy that are provided at the state level.
A contract with Sunpower, an icon in the solar industry.
Our electric bill was $0 every month. We lose power a lot, and the backup batteries would kick on seamlessly.
But since Sunpower's sudden collapse, Sidi Traore says the system's generated little more than frustration.
Every day looking at it in my basement, I'm powerless.
Like, who is looking out for the consumer here?
In August, when the family still owed thousands on the solar loan, Sunpower filed for a Chapter 11 bankruptcy. By December, Kira Traore says the system's batteries broke. Then, the metering system malfunctioned.
So the panels are still producing electricity, but it's not letting our electric company know that. So now we're paying our full electric bill on top of paying for the financing on the panels, and the batteries are still not working.
Okay, so this is very important. I mentioned in a previous video that if you don't have batteries, when the power goes down, you won't have power, because when a power line goes down, the power company will cut off the power at their end. But if you're still producing power and sending it through the wires, it's very dangerous for the installers. So the only way, if you're connected to the power system, that you would have power in during a power outage from a storm is if you have a backup battery. And because they have a backup battery, this is why the system was very expensive. $54,000, and now nothing is working, and I haven't seen the rest of this, but I'm going to assume it's the software, because with batteries there's a weird thing where they have to be charged and discharged at a certain rate. So if you think of it like Jenga blocks, when you take out the pieces and then you put them back in, you have to do that at a certain speed. If you do it too quickly, the whole thing will collapse, and that's kind of what happens with a battery. There's a certain rate, depending on what the battery is, where you can pull out the electrons and put them back in. And if you do that too quickly, or too slowly actually as well, you could collapse the system, and then you just have a hunk of metal. It doesn't have a battery that can charge and discharge. I'm oversimplifying it, but that's kind of how it works. So when batteries are developed, they see how many times you can charge it and discharges before it's not working, and also the rate at which you can charge it and discharge it. So as I said, like, imagine a pile of Jengas, and you can pull out certain pieces and then put it back, and if you pull it out at a certain rate, you're fine. But if you overdo it, you have a big problem, because then your battery will lose effectiveness, and eventually you won't have a working battery. So let's keep watching.
In an online portal, she pleaded for a tech, writing, "I will not continue to pay." She says she got no response, but they do have an active warranty. On Sunpower's website, there's links to navigate warranties with an assurance the company is working diligently to expand these resources.
We went to consumer advocacy lawyers. They told us to go to bankruptcy lawyers. We went to bankruptcy lawyers. They told us to go to creditor lawyers. So we've sort of gotten the whole runaround. So I emailed you.
The New Jersey AG's office referred Traore to government officials in California, where Sunpower is headquartered. Officials there tell me they're taking action to revoke Sunpower's contractor license. An administrative hearing is scheduled for next month.
Welcome to Verizon Wireless.
Sunpower's listed number isn't operational, and their bankruptcy attorneys have not responded to my emails.
That to me is real salt in the wounds, is when the Sunpower is telling the customers to call us.
You were proud to be a Sunpower.
Okay, another thing that you should think about, just because the company went bankrupt doesn't mean you don't still owe the money, because these companies are very capital intensive and they don't have their own money, so usually they get financing from banks. And this couple here, where they paid $54,000 to install it, you could see they're making payments on it. So SunPower did not give them the money. They went through a bank, and a bank financed it, or some other company financed it. So just because SunPower went bankrupt doesn't mean you still don't owe the money, because the bank or other person who loaned you the money still wants to get paid. And they don't really care that SunPower went bankrupt. They'll take you to court. They'll attach your wages. They'll put a lien on your house because they lent you the money. They didn't sell you the solar.
SunPower dealer.
Absolutely proud to be a SunPower dealer.
Frank Curran sold and installed SunPower systems. Stunned by the bankruptcy, he says he had to downsize.
We were left with trying to juggle our own cash flow and saying, like, hey, we want to go out and help our customers, right? But SunPower is no longer reimbursing us for that. Those customers now felt a little uncertain about us, even because we were associated with SunPower.
Without SunPower's tech support, you can't fix these batteries.
We cannot. But basically, I think we're kind of out of luck for any sort of tech support on any future issues.
So when you have a warranty, normally the installer would go out and fix it, and then they would get reimbursed by SunPower. But as you see, this person who installed the system says they can't go out and service customers who have a problem because SunPower is in bankruptcy and obviously won't pay them, so they won't stand behind their warranty. And normally when you run into a problem, it's the installer who installed it wrong. But since this was working 100% and then all of a sudden stopped working, I have a feeling it's the software, but we'll keep watching.
Charging again? I contacted executives at Complete Solar, the company that bought much of SunPower's business amid the bankruptcy proceeding. A senior VP called me back saying Complete Solar is not responsible for fixing systems since they didn't purchase warranties. Still, to help, they sent the tech to troubleshoot.
And the engineers there were able to do the back end work, and they found a whole bunch of errors, and they just worked through those errors one by one, and about like an hour and a half, 2 hours, and they had the system back up and running, which we never thought was going to happen. We're so happy that you intervened. You guys were fantastic and got down to the bottom of the problem and got the problem solved.
Okay, so late today, the CEO of Complete Solar, TJ Rogers, called me. Again, the company has purchased part of SunPower's business, not taking over the warranties for the batteries. Mr. Rogers said that there's a bug in the software, so the batteries periodically lock up and the systems must be rebooted. It sounds simple, but I'm told this issue largely caused SunPower to file for bankruptcy, so the CEO could not take on that part of the business, KJ, but he says depending on the need, he's going to try to come up with a solution for all these folks. As we said, at 6 o'clock, more than 100,000 people across the country have these batteries.
That is a lot of people. So what does that even look like? What does a solution mean?
So he wants to create a service system to reboot these batteries for certain customers. He's trying to provide a solution. He says that he would not be making a profit, but he couldn't do this for free. But he has agreed to, stay in touch with me to continue the conversation. I'm curious how many emails am I going to get. Stay tuned.
Well, listen, I'm sure it's not as easy as just plugging, unplugging it and plugging back in. But still, it's if it's an easy fix, it takes about 2 hours. A lot of people will be affected by this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Melissa, great work. Thank you.
Okay, so a couple of things. As I said, SunPower went bankrupt, and it was the largest residential solar. So if that didn't save it from bankruptcy, it just shows you that it's a high capital, high growth industry, and it's very risky. And one of the largest utility scale solar companies, SunEdison, also went bankrupt. They had a subsidiary called Terraform Power. So SunEdison would install these things, and then they would drop them down into these yield codes that were sort of separate structures for people that wanted the income from these. And they went bankrupt, and it was eventually bought out by Brookfield Renewables, which is a huge multi-billion-dollar, hundreds of billions of dollar company in New York, Canada, actually. So SunPower went bankrupt, and their assets were bought by a company called Complete Solaria. They're referring to it as Complete Solar, but the name of the company is technically Complete Solaria. And if you go to their website, it says Complete Solar. And why is that? There's a thing in copyright law where you're not allowed to copyright small common phrases. So like you couldn't copyright the name of this YouTube channel, Green Energy Lawyer, because those are 3 common words. I might be able to do them in combination, but like green energy, even if I was the first one to run to the Copyright Office and file a claim for it, it's 2 common words and it's a small phrase. So I probably couldn't copyright green energy. And they probably can't copyright Complete Solar. So the name of their company is Complete Solaria, and they market themselves as Complete Solar. And it's a weird quirk of copyright law. But TJ Rogers is a legend. He founded Cypress Semiconductor. And then after that, he invested in a company called Enphase, which makes these solar panels with the microinverters. And that company was on its last legs. He came in and turned it around, and it went from like a 25-cent stock to $200. And I think it's now down to in the 50s again because of what's going on in the market with the tariffs and everything. But now he's involved with Complete Solaria as the CEO, and I actually have his book here. He's a very impressive guy. And it's good that he's standing behind this stuff. And if it's a software issue, they probably all have the same issue. And if anyone can get it done, it's TJ. He's also involved, he knows a lot about batteries. He is involved in a company called Enovix, which makes very innovative batteries that are about 30% stronger than conventional batteries. And they use a different type of architecture where they have silicone in the anode instead of the usual materials. And normally the way batteries work, there's what's called a jelly roll system. So you have the anodes and cathodes, and then they roll it up. And that's a system that Tesla uses, which is why if you puncture their car, it catches on fire. And what Enovix has is this really unique system where if you think of like pasta in a box, and if you poke a hole through the pasta, it just moves the things aside. So the things are lined up and down, not in a jelly roll system. So if you drill a hole in it, it doesn't catch fire. So it is a lot safer. And that's why the military has contracts with it, because if you are carrying a battery on your backpack and you get shot, it's bad enough you got shot. The last thing you need when you've been shot is to be set on fire. So something like this, which is a lot safer, it's really good to have. And so if anyone knows batteries, it's TJ Rogers. And if he's getting involved with this company, that should be very helpful. So anyway, that's my thoughts as a green energy lawyer, as a person who worked in finance and is looking at the news like you do and giving my thoughts. So like and subscribe, and I'll try to do more of these. And I'll keep reviewing that solar energy contract and let you look over my shoulder as I do it. Good luck, everyone.